Chapter 10. The concourse was thick with travelers, looking sleepier, hungrier, and grumpier by the minute. Sorry! Anna tripped over a purple suitcase being pulled along by a little girl, whose pink sneakers lit up every time she took a step. Excuse me! She squeezed through the middle of the line at the Cinnabunny and dodged one of those airport cars with the whoop, whoop, whooping alarm, nearly crashed into a woman who was waiting to use the restroom, and careened around the corner toward gate B16. Then she stopped so fast that her sneakers squeaked on the shiny floor. Dozens of people were gathered around a circle of glaring lights and television cameras. The crowd buzzed with an energy that had seeped out of the rest of the sleepy airport hours ago. In the middle of that circle, leaning in toward a cluster of microphones, was Robert Snickerbottom. He looked right into the cameras as he spoke, nodding emphatically, and at one point gesturing out toward the crowd with so much gusto that the reporter standing to his left, a young woman with tippy high-heeled boots, had to duck to avoid the sweep of his arm. Anna strained to hear what he was saying, but she could only catch a few words. Dedicated the full resources of my campaign. Disturbing developments. It had to be about the flag. Anna rose up on her tiptoes, searching for Jose, or Henry, or Sinan. And where was her father? She jumped as high as she could, but her only view was of the wide shoulders of the man in front of her. Excuse me. Anna wiggled through the crowd that had filled in behind her. She needed to get back where she could see what was going on. Over at the next gate, the seats were empty except for the skinny man in the cowboy hat who hung around with Snickerbottom. He was hunched over, talking on the phone. She'd asked him what was happening when he finished. In the meantime, Anna climbed up onto one of those chairs to try and get a better view of the hubbub, but she still couldn't see past the crowd. She wished the man on the phone would hurry up, but he turned away from her and held the phone close to his mouth. Doesn't matter, Zeke. They'll do it when we get to Vermont. That's what he said. Anna inched closer to him and then stepped up onto the top of the seats to take in more of the scene. Across the hall, she counted 4 TV cameras and about twice as many reporters scribbling in notepads. Snickerbottom must have called a press conference right here in the airport. Anna jumped down from the seats, stumbling right into the man in the cowboy hat. Hold on, he growled into his phone and glared at Anna until she picked herself up and ran back to the crowd. She needed to get up front of all of those people. Anna darted through the gaps in the crowd, dodging elbows and backpacks until she saw a familiar head of messy black hair in front of her. It was Jose, with Henry and Sinan in front of him. Sinan's eyes were huge, and Henry's mouth hung open. Hey, Anna tapped on Jose's shoulder. Jose put a finger to his lips. Shh. What's going on? She whispered. Did something happen with the flag? He nodded but held up his hand for her to wait. Anna was close enough to hear now, close enough to understand why the boys were in shock. That's right, Snickerbottom nodded. We've discovered that the flag is here, right here at the airport. I was right all along, Anna whispered. Jose shushed her again. How do the police know? Said the tippy-booted reporter. Does that mean that you have suspects? Indeed we do. Anna gasped. Do you think he knows about Snake Arm? She looked around, her heart pounding. Could Snake Arm be here too? She didn't see him, but that didn't mean anything. The crowd was too thick to see much at all. Snickerbottom took a deep breath and his eyes scanned the crowd. My team has discovered that a number of suspicious persons from outside the United States, he paused, shook his head a little, had access to our national treasure at the private function at the Smithsonian last night, right before the flag disappeared. Jose turned to Anna. Snake Arm? Maybe. I never saw him at the museum, though. And is he from outside the United States? He didn't have an accent, did he? Anna tried to replay his voice in her head. What I don't get, Jose said, is how someone could have taken the flag the night of the reception. I know, said Anna. Security was so tight. How could Snake Arm steal it out from under everyone's nose? Jose shrugged. How could anybody? And he turned back to the press conference. Tippy Boots stepped forward then. So, who are these people? And how could they have ended up at such an exclusive event? Well, Snickerbottom waited for the last camera to focus on him before he answered quietly, "They were invited." The reporters for once were silent. The crowd stared. Though the investigation is continuing, I can tell you that my team has evidence to suggest that special guests of the museum were involved in the theft. Musical guest. No. Anna shook her head silently. He didn't have the right information at all. Sounds for a small planet? Tippy Boots asked, her pen poised above her notepad. I'm afraid so. And as you know, members of that group are among us at the airport. They're currently being questioned by the police. No. How could he say that without any proof? Anna looked at Sinan, who hadn't moved or even blinked, but his brown eyes were shiny with tears. She couldn't stand it. But Senator Snickerbottom, she shouted over the crowd, what about the Serpentine Princes? What about the musicians who want to steal the flag? Snickerbottom frowned. There are people in this world who do not share our love for America, young lady. People who, given the opportunity, would seek to destroy this fine nation that we've built. Our values, our beliefs. He turned away from Anna and looked back at the cameras. And our flag. But we're going to get the Star-Spangled Banner back where it belongs. If you'll excuse me now, I have work to do. He turned and started weaving his way through the crowd. Anna needed to ask more questions. She'd been in such a rush to find out what was going on, she didn't even think to get it on tape. She even took out her mini video camera. She would have to run after Snickerbottom and his men if she hadn't seen Sinan's face. He kept shaking his head. There is no one, he said quietly, no one who would do such a thing. No one in the group hates America. We are here for the music, always the music and the people. Why would this man say such a thing? Jose pulled a rumpled Kleenex from his pocket and handed it to Sinan. Sometimes people just want someone to blame. It's not right. We're being made into, what is that saying that you have for those who are blamed unfairly? Goats that get over the fence? Anna tipped her head. Never heard that one. Sinan pulled out his sketch pad and flipped through the pages. Here, scapegoat. Jose nodded. Yeah, that sounds about right. But it's not right. It's so totally wrong. We need to do something. Anna watched Sinan add a few more details to his sketch, and then she remembered another drawing, not on paper, but on skin. On the arm of the man from Pickersgill Diner, if he was a part of Vincent Gooson's art theft gang, if he was the one who stole the flag, and if they could prove it, the police would have to leave the orchestra people alone. I need to tell you guys what I found out, Anna. Anna put her arm around Sinan. Let's go find your mom and dad. We can talk on the way.